Welcome to Husband Talking. Explore riveting tales of infidelity with us. Please subscribe and like to stay updated. Let's begin.
I could never have predicted the chaos my life would spiral into. My wife, with her deep brown eyes and beauty, shattered my trust in ways I couldn't have imagined. She chose not one, but two disgusting men aboard a luxurious yacht. The vows we exchanged meant nothing to her. Driven by rage and a thirst for vengeance, I devised the perfect retribution. When the yacht went up in flames, it marked the moment everything changed for me. The Harringtons believed they were beyond reach, but I showed them otherwise. This is more than a story of infidelity. It's about betrayal, revenge, and how far a man will go to reclaim his dignity. I didn't go back home that weekend. I stayed at the Hampton Suites and spent my days at the office. I had nowhere else to go, and the empty building meant I didn't have to talk to anyone. In my own way, I was getting used to it. I could stay calm and think things through. Late on Sunday, my office phone rang. I was sorting through old files I'd ignored for months. Without thinking, I picked up. "You're there," Anna said quickly after I answered. "Yes, I'm here," I sighed. I wasn't sad, just calm for once. Anna," she stammered, "it'll be in your building's lobby in 20 minutes. Please meet me there." "Okay. Why?" I asked. "Just be there, please," she begged, and then hung up. I checked my reflection in the bathroom. I hadn't shaved in 3 days. I needed a haircut and had lost some weight. I was sitting in the polished lobby of the Parkview office building. Only me and the security guard were there on a Sunday evening. We both looked up when the door opened, and the sound of heels on marble filled the air. I saw Anna walking toward me. I turned to the guard. "Robert, you'll look after this visitor while she's here." "Okay? No problem, Mr. Collins," he said. "Is she a lawyer like you?" "She sort of looks like one." "Yes, she's a lawyer, but not a public defender. She's with a big firm." I met Anna halfway across the lobby and took her to the elevator. She looked worn out and scared. She wore jeans and had her thick winter coat on. Her hands were buried in her coat pockets. We didn't talk as the old elevator slowly went up to my floor. In my office, Anna finally took off her coat and sat with a sigh in the old chair facing my green metal desk. I waited for her to talk. "You'll be glad to know I have my rings back," she said, showing her left hand. I was shocked and puzzled. Did that mean she had gone through our wedding photos and found them? I wasn't sure because if she did, she would have seen the plane ticket to San Diego I left there. Her behavior didn't fit what I thought she would act if she knew I was in San Diego for the reunion. "Where did you find them?" I asked, trying to look happy. "Rachel had them the whole time. I gave them to her to hold on to when I was on the boat trip," she said. I knew she wasn't telling the truth. She wasn't on the tour boat with others. She was on Miguel and Louis' yacht, the Temptress, and she didn't give the rings to Rachel. She left them in the yacht's room. "Now maybe you can wear your ring again. Come back to little Michael and me. Love me, and we can be a family again." I acted like I agreed, reaching to my shirt to show my ring on a leather string. I made it look like I would wear it again, but then stopped and asked, "Can I see your rings, please?" Anna was slow to show me, but then let me look closely. "These aren't real," I said. Anna pulled her hand back fast. "What do you mean, Michael?" she said, shocked. "They aren't fake. They are copies," I told her. "Why did Rachel give you the same rings again? They must have been really expensive. Is the wedding ring marked with our initials and the date we got married?" Anna looked away, trying to hide something. She said fast, "They are mine." "Why wouldn't they be?" "I'm not sure, Anna. I just know those aren't the original rings you had." "Why would Rachel trick you then?" I pressed harder. "Or is it you who's trying to trick me?" "But why?" Anna tried to hold back tears and shot back. "How do you know all this? How can you say that? I just want you back. Why does it bother you so much that I lost my rings?" Anna didn't see the link between why I was mad and far away and her night with Miguel. She thought I couldn't have found out about what she did from Friday to her coming back to Los Angeles on Sunday. So in her mind, my being upset wasn't because of what she did. In the month I was away, I had time to think clearer, away from my anger. I knew I was still very hurt. I felt ashamed knowing my wife was with another man. I was embarrassed because some people knew what happened. I lost all trust in Anna, Not just because of her time with Miguel, but because she kept lying. I knew I missed my son. My world was him, and losing Anna didn't mean I had to lose him too. I also knew I didn't want to stay hurt by this, and I knew living alone wasn't something I could do forever. I watched Anna for a bit, then said, I'm going to move back home. I miss my son. I didn't say I missed Anna, even though part of me did, but I went on, they'll sleep in the guest room for now. This choice seemed to make Anna a bit okay. Maybe she thought it was a step toward things getting back to normal between us as husband and wife. They'll come back home Monday night, I told her. See you then. To end our talk, I added that I had to go back to work. Anna knew we were done talking and got up to leave. I'm glad you'll be back with us where you belong. She thought we might hug and kiss because of this news. She moved closer, but I stepped back. You haven't touched me since I got back from the reunion, she said with a tear in each eye. Then she walked out of my office. It seemed like Anna couldn't link my anger to her cheating. Maybe it was her way of protecting herself or being in denial, or maybe it was just lying. I did come back home Monday night. I moved my things into the guest room. When I needed to get to my clothes or the bathroom in the main bedroom, Anna stayed out of the way. I spent most of my time not working with my son, little Michael. Around him, Anna and I acted like nothing was wrong. We talked nicely to each other, even though we never touched. When Michael wasn't around or after we put him to bed, I was cold to Anna and often silent. I wasn't as grumpy or sneaky with my words as I was when I was really mad. 3 weeks had passed since our office talk. I was there for my son, but that was it for Anna. I was there in body, not in heart. I had been sleeping in the spare room. I gave most of my time at home to my son. I always knew he was a great kid, but these weeks made me see it even more. Anna and I had kind of made peace. We somehow made it work. She kept out of my way when I needed to use our room or shower. I made sure her office was neat so she could work there during the day. We were getting by, or at least I was. Anna seemed to have lost some weight, and her spark was missing. But me, I was having a great time with our son. One day Anna spoke up. Rachel called me yesterday. Good old Rachel, I said, a bit mad. Did you tell her off? No, Michael, why should I? She wants me to come see her in Houston. That's better than her coming here to Los Angeles since I don't want to see her, I said. She asked to see me, Michael, not us. I wanted to say something mean about Rachel leading Anna into trouble, but I stayed quiet. I want to go see her. This time I couldn't stay silent. To talk about the good old days in San Diego? I said, my voice dripping with sarcasm. I was pushing her away and couldn't stop. The hurt from her mistake was too strong. She might bring it up, but I really want to talk to her about us, Michael. She's my best friend, but I won't say anything if you don't want me to. Her asking surprised me. Go ahead if you think it'll help. I doubt it, I said. I don't think you know Rachel as well as you think. For the next week, we lived in a weird peace, trying to keep things okay for Michael. I knew what I had to do. I had to find a way to feel good about myself again. I loved Anna with all my heart, but I couldn't stay with someone who was unfaithful. A month after her trip, I was cleaning up dinner in the kitchen. It was our way that Anna would cook and I'd wash up after. I was drying a glass when I heard a sad cry from the living room. I went in and saw Anna on the couch with our wedding book. She held up her rings and my plane ticket. You knew, she said with tears. You knew the whole time. She cried, really upset. Sob. Bing a lot. She saw me and hid her face. I can't see you, she said. Don't look at me, she added. I sat down across from her and said, yes, I know it all. I was there. I saw everything. I tried to forget, she said between tears. I wished it never happened. Maybe you did, I said, but not me. I see it again and again. I even took photos. Photos? She cried. You have photos? Yes, on my phone. No, Anna cried. I must see them, she said. Are you sure? I asked. They show a lot, but you know what happened. Anna nodded. I need to know what you know. I got my phone, opened the photos, and showed her the night of the party. They start here, I said as I handed her the phone. Anna looked at the photos. They went from when the yacht arrived to when she let Miguel into her place. She saw them all. Some were not clear, but they showed I was there and saw everything. Anna tossed the phone beside her and cried more. I'm so sorry, Michael. I'd change it if I could, she said, still crying. But you can't, can you? I said, not really feeling it. You really messed me up, didn't you? You were with the two guys you know I can't stand. Anna took a bit to get what I was saying. What do you mean, two guys? She asked, crying. You were with Miguel and Luis that night, weren't you? I said, just stating the facts. What are you talking about? Anna said, tears still falling. Let me tell you about that night, Anna, I said, and I began to tell my side of things. I saw from far away when you came back from sailing on the Harrington's yacht. I was shocked to see you weren't wearing a top and that Miguel Harrington was holding you like it was nothing. Right away, I started to wonder what you'd do if you thought I wasn't there. So I stayed back to watch. At the party, I saw you dance close with Miguel. I noticed you let Miguel touch you in the pool later, and I saw Miguel walk you to your room late at night. What really got to me, made me sad, and hurt me deep down was seeing you let Miguel into your room. Crushed me when I saw that. Anger filled me. I moved toward your room, mad at both of you. As I got closer, I picked up a big rock. I was ready to break in and hurt Miguel. I didn't just want to hurt him a bit. I wanted to end him, and then I thought of hurting you too. The only thing that might have stopped me was the thought of Miguel fighting back. But I didn't care right then. I got about 10 feet from your door and stopped. For some reason, I thought of little Michael. I thought about what would happen next. What if I had stormed into your room and saw you ready to sleep with Miguel, and you told me to leave and we'd talk later? That would have made me so angry I can barely think about it. What if Miguel was so set on being with you that he beat me up and kicked me out? Then I'd have to get back at you both, no question. What if Miguel had just left when he saw me? Then I'd be left with a wife who would have been unfaithful if I hadn't shown up just then. What then? Cry. Beg for sorry. Promise it'll never happen again? Either way, I'd be stuck with a wife I can't trust ever again. I was in a no-win situation no matter what. What if I had charged in and hurt Miguel real bad like I wanted to? Michael would grow up without his dad, who'd be called a killer. If Miguel had hurt me instead, Michael might have grown up with his mom and stepdad Miguel. Not a chance I liked. If I had hurt both Miguel and you, Michael would be with one of his grandparents. Also a bad idea. Leaving was the only thing I saw I could do then and figure things out later, whatever they'd be. Anna finally looked at me, asking, what are you going to do? With tears in my eyes, I said, I want a divorce. Anna cried out, no, no, no. This wasn't supposed to happen. You weren't ever supposed to find out. I answered, I've got no other choice. You chose my biggest enemies over me, then lied over and over. You never even thought to tell me the truth, so maybe we could fix it together. You lied and lied. I can't trust you. You had no respect for me or the promises we made. Anna cried and cried. You can't forgive and let us go back like before? Can't you give me one more chance? She asked. I spoke, holding back my tears. I did give you a chance, but you kept lying to me. I can't just act like nothing happened. My honor and respect for myself won't let me. You wouldn't respect me if I did that. I'd always be seen as weak by you, by me, and by everyone we know. My pride won't let me, no matter how much I love you. And even though I love you, I can't bring myself to touch you. Knowing you've been with Miguel or Luis, I can't make love to you. I can't kiss you, knowing where your mouth has been. But Anna caught on to something else as I spoke. What do you mean when you talk about Miguel and Luis? She asked, crying. You don't even know the half of it. Didn't you know that both Miguel and Luis were with you that night? I answered, I don't get what you mean. I was only with Miguel all night long. How many times did you feel it? I asked harshly. Please, Michael, I don't want to talk about this. I've been trying to forget that night. How many times did Miguel finish? I kept asking the hard questions. Please, please, Michael, she begged. I didn't even want you to know something happened, so I sure don't want to talk about the details of how many times or how long I was with Miguel. To be honest, I don't remember much. I drank too much. I was high and I was tired. I looked at Anna. No wonder you thought it was an awesome night. You must have been done at least 6 times. How close was I to what really happened? Anna was still crying as I guessed how her night with Miguel went. "I'm so sorry, Michael." Looking back, the whole day seemed to head to that moment. I just let things happen. I never wanted you to find out. I've hurt you a lot, and I can see that. You know I love you, and I know you love me and our boy with all your heart. We have to get past this. We just have to. Hey, Race, what really went down, Anna? I said, putting up my hand to quiet her. After I dropped the idea of breaking into your place to go after Miguel and maybe you too, I put down the stone. I needed time to cool off, so I walked on the beach for a long bit. In that time, I chose to go back to Los Angeles and keep it to myself that I had been there, that I saw what I saw. I planned to catch the first flight home. When I was heading back to my spot at about 3 in the morning, I looked through the palm trees at your room. There was a guy standing by your door. At first, I thought it was Miguel taking a rest or something. Then I saw the real Miguel open the door and step out to meet his brother Luis. They hung out for a little, then swapped shirts. Luis, now in Miguel's clothes, went into your place and Miguel walked off to his own spot. So the reason your night was so wild was because you were with both Miguel and Luis Harrington. No, Anna cried out. I had no idea. How could he? How could they do that? By the book, Luis did a very bad thing to you, I said. You didn't say yes to him, but I guess that's a small part in all that happened. Anna just sobbed and rocked, saying over and over, I didn't know. I didn't know. To me, it doesn't matter that you were with Miguel or both. What bugs me is you stepping out at all. You made it look so easy, like it was just what people do when their partner isn't around. Yes, you're right, Anna said. It was all too simple for me, and I haven't thought about what I did. I didn't think about what it meant for us. What was going through my head? Where was my care for you? For us? If you want to split, Michael, I won't fight it. They'll do what you said. Well, keep little Michael and stay as a family. I've been thinking about this. You might not agree, but little Michael comes first for both of us. I know the house is too big for one of us. We're both busy with work. Let's sell the house. We can get smaller places close to work and each other. This way, little Michael can stay at his school with his same babysitter and daycare. We can share time with him. A month with me, then a month with you. We'll spend holidays like Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, and birthdays together so he won't feel left out. We'll be nice to each other when we're with little Michael and our families. Apart from that, we live our own lives. 2 homes mean more money needed. I've decided to leave my job as a public defender and go back to work with my old buddy Adam Evans at his law firm. Adam's been wanting me back since I left. He's got too much work and needs my help in court. But you loved being a public defender, I replied. Yes, I did. I helped people who had it hard with the law. I also learned a lot in court with different cases. But I'm tired of small cases with drug dealers, gang folks, and such. The office is in good hands with young lawyers eager for court. I want to work on bigger justice cases. Adam told me work and cash would come a lot. Anna cried that whole night. I couldn't make her feel better, and I didn't even try. I cried too. The next day, Anna said she couldn't look at me for a bit and was going to see Rachel for a few days. I thought it was good too. Not that I liked Rachel. I thought Rachel had made Anna fall into a trap. But Anna thought Rachel was still her friend. An hour after Anna's plane got to Houston, I sent her a text. I guess she was with Rachel by then. In the text, I said I had not just pictures from that night at the resort, but also a video of her dancing around the fire with Miguel and Luis. I sent the video too. I told her to watch what Rachel did. The video showed Anna, Miguel, Luis, and Isabella dancing wildly by the fire, trying to top each other. You could see our classmates watching. Some looked away from the daring moves. But as Anna and Miguel danced, Rachel came up to Anna, gave her a drink, and whispered something. Rachel then moved back. Anna drank it fast and threw the glass into the fire. After that, Anna danced even wilder. At one point, she took off her light green wrap and threw it into the air. The video caught the wrap flying to where I was filming, and that's where it stopped. Not long after, Anna called. She was coming back on the next plane. I got Anna from the airport. She didn't say much at first as we drove home. Then she said, I think I was tricked. I don't know why. Even so, I know it doesn't make what I did okay. I didn't help things. I made the choice to do what I did. I drank a lot. I smoked weed. I ended up as Miguel's friend for the weekend, and then things went too far. I thought they were my pals, but they weren't. Still, I don't get why. Me neither, I said. We didn't talk much after that till we got home. We decided to split up. Even before it was all official, Anna and I had a lawyer split our stuff fairly. We split our money and started to handle our things on our own. At the same time, we found new places close to our work and close to each other. Our old house sold for a lot more than we bought it. We split that money too. I put some of it down on a new 3-bedroom townhouse. The rest I kept handy until I figured out a long-term plan for it. My new job paid well, so I could save a lot. And as it turned out, I was going to need that money. Anna got a 3-bedroom condo not far from my place. When we talked about how to share time with little Michael, we got the idea to make his rooms at both places look the same as his old room. We thought it would help him feel okay moving back and forth each month. The first month was hard as we moved our stuff to our new places. At the same time, I was getting used to my new job as a criminal lawyer at Evans and Martin Attorneys at Law. Adam gave me a lot of cases and made me a full partner in the firm. I kept little Michael with me at first while Anna moved into her condo. Anna was really nice to take care of little Michael for another month while I was moving into the new house with 3 bedrooms I bought. I didn't want to hear about the night she was unfaithful. I couldn't believe there was a good reason for what she did. It still hurt, but she kept asking me to hear her out. On the day we signed the divorce papers, she said she would only sign if I gave her 30 minutes to hear her story. I didn't want to listen. I thought there couldn't be a good side to her story. But after signing, we sat alone without the lawyers in a meeting room. She started by saying sorry again, saying she knew she had hurt me a lot and that I was still in pain. She felt bad for ending our marriage but knew that my pride was hurt so much that I couldn't move past it. She knew the trouble made me lose respect for myself, and it wasn't even my fault. She nearly cried, trying hard to keep it together. I told her I agreed to listen to her story, not more sorry words for what ended our marriage. She took a breath and began. The weekend away was so good to have some me time. The first time in 6 months I was alone. No work, no you, no little Michael, just me. On the plane to San Diego, I decided I was going to have fun. I wanted to hang out with my single friends and party like we used to do in law school at semester's end. All by myself in San Diego, the place was stunning. The warm air, drinks with rum, lively salsa music. Michael, everyone was there, and it was so fun. It felt like I was back in school before we were us. Before Michael Jr., I felt free again. No one to look after but me. I've always let you be free, Anna. If you said you needed space, I gave it, I said, trying to keep my voice even. I know, Michael. It's not you, it's just how things are. I had to say something. But Michael, we both wanted to get married. We both wanted a baby. Yes, Michael. I did want those things. I love you. This is so tough. She went on, I hoped to hang out with my single school friends, but there weren't many. Most were married, and the single ones didn't show up. But Rachel was there. She teamed up with me and said we'd have a good time. She told Miguel I was solo, and he said he'd look after us. She was close with the Harringtons. At the reunion's cocktail hour on Friday, we met Miguel, Luis, and his wife Isabella. They suggested using their yacht instead of the tour boat the next day to go to an island for a barbecue. The yacht sounded cooler and less packed. I wasn't sure about Miguel at first and said I might stick with other friends. But Miguel said to bring some along. Rachel was into the idea, so I agreed if Ryan and Nina joined. I found Nina later and she was in, so we planned to go on the Harringtons' yacht. The yacht seemed way better than the tour boat, and for sure it would be less crowded. Although I missed hanging out with my friends from school, being on the yacht was cool. We had a great lunch and lots to drink. I shouldn't have started drinking so much so early. Then Miguel brought out some weed, and we all tried some. I felt so chill and free. As you might guess, or as you saw, I just went with the flow, not seeing that I was being tricked by folks who acted like they were my friends. I drank more and smoked more weed, which made me care less about what I did. I found myself dancing wildly with Miguel near a fire. I let it happen. The next morning, I woke up alone with the worst headache. The room smelled terrible. I felt sore. I started to realize what I had done to you, to us. I cried a lot. I got sick, throwing up with nothing to throw up. Around 10 in the morning, I called for new sheets. I tossed the old ones into the hallway. Then I took a long shower trying to feel clean. But no matter how much I washed, I felt dirty. When the new sheets came, I changed the bed and curled up with a pillow. I couldn't sleep, filled with shame and guilt. I just kept crying. Around 1 in the afternoon, Nina came to find me because she noticed I was missing from the fun. At first, I didn't want to open the door, but she knew something was up, and I let her in. She hugged me, and I cried on her. I told her everything. How will I ever face Michael? This will break him, I cried. Nina took charge. This never happened, Anna, she said. I want you to start forgetting it right now. This was nothing. I can't trick Michael, I said. Nina spoke up. Trust me, Anna. Forget that it ever happened. It's like it was never real. You have no need to feel bad or guilty. Michael won't find out. Nina laid out her plan, making it clear we had nothing to hide or lie about. She got us coffee and food. I started to feel a bit better. She told me I had to act normal for the rest of the weekend. That meant going to the big dinner and dance that night, the last big thing of our reunion. I told her I couldn't face my old friends, and I didn't want to bump into Miguel. Listen, Anna, last night is like it never was. You're going to be your happy social self. Only you and Miguel know, and Miguel wouldn't want Michael to hear what happened. Later, Nina took me to the reunion hangout spot at the hotel to chat with some classmates. People asked where we'd been that morning. Nina said we were out shopping. After a bit, everyone started heading to their rooms to get ready for the dinner. I did what Nina said. I locked the bad stuff away and just hung out with friends. A couple of them talked about the dance Miguel and I shared the night before, but no one thought it was more than just a dance. Nina came for me, and I joined her and Ryan for drinks before the dinner. Nina was like a guardian, sticking close. I found myself having fun, mostly because I put the night before out of my mind. It was like it never happened. I sat with Nina and Ryan at dinner. I saw Miguel and Luis at a different table with Isabella, James, and Rachel. Miguel looked over a lot, but I made sure not to look back. I was scared he'd come over or ask me to dance. Later, I told Nina that I'd freak out if he spoke to me or touched me. Nina said not to worry. She had told Miguel to keep away from me or face problems. I spent the night trying to have fun with my classmates. I drank just 1 glass of wine and danced once with Ryan. Nina and Ryan made sure I got to my room safe that night. I went with them in the hotel van to the airport the next morning and caught my flight home. I pushed the whole thing so far out of my mind I didn't feel the guilt I thought I should. I wanted everything from now on to seem as normal as could be, not even making you doubt me with too much guilt. I figured I didn't feel guilty. Anna stopped talking. That's what went down. I'll never stop blaming myself for what I did. I don't think you can either. I don't expect you to. Just know I'm really sorry for causing you so much pain, and know I'll always love you. Then Anna just got up and walked out. I waited till the divorce was final. When it was done, it felt like just another day. I found out I was single again. I kept working hard at my job. Adam was right about how my past as a public defender helped at our law firm. Knowing the court and the district attorney's office inside and out was a big plus. We moved from making deals to taking things to trial, and we began to win. Slowly, our law firm's name got better as we took on bigger cases and more well-known clients. My go-to spot after work was this chill bar that Adam and I often hit up to loosen up or bring clients for a laid-back meet instead of the stiff vibe of our office. This time it was only 2 p.m., and the bar was almost empty. I picked a quiet booth all for myself and asked for a strong spiced rum. My mind started wandering. I wouldn't have thought much if it wasn't for an email I got last night from Rachel. Hey, Michael. Heard you're single now. Sorry to hear that, but it means you're free to meet new folks. I'm one of those new folks. We went out once, just one time, before you got together with my roommate Anna. I was a looker back then, really. I was quite something. You were all I could think about. It hurt a lot to see you with Anna. I always felt she wasn't right for you. You didn't see her flaws. She had a mean streak. I knew marrying her was a mistake, and I wanted to show you. At the reunion, I made it clear, though Anna hadn't been close to Miguel since breaking up during law school. I knew she didn't hate him as you did. It wasn't hard to get Miguel, Luis, Anna, and me to hang out for the weekend. With a bit of a push, I knew she'd mess up. Miguel was his usual sweet-talking self. He always had a thing for her and wasn't happy you were with Anna anyway. Sorry how things ended, but I wanted you to know I'm here. Why not visit me? I'll try my best to make you forget her. I might not be as pretty as Anna, but I could love you way more. Oh, Rachel, I thought. She must have been tipsy writing that letter. She wouldn't have owned up to tricking Anna if she'd been clear-headed. I sent the email to Anna. No words added. The note made it clear, no ifs about it. Anna was tricked by her close pal Rachel, and it seemed so was I. But that didn't let Anna off the hook. Marriage should hold up against tests, and partners ought to stay clear of tricky spots. Ever since that mess with my wife and the Harrington guys, I felt shamed and mad. At first, all my rage was at Anna, thinking she was to blame for everything. Dialing down a bit after I started to end our marriage, but not gone. My busy life as a court lawyer kept my mind off it, yet it bubbled under. Even with us split and the divorce on its way, the bitter feelings hung tight. I craved payback. No, it wasn't just evening the scales. I sought revenge. In our clients, there was Richard Gordon, a big shot in real estate for shops and such. He got nabbed for setting fires. He said he did it to clear buildings off the dock for new fancy flats. The fire hit some insured storages. Insurance was okay, not huge. The truth is, the cops had little to pin him down. No fire stuff left, no gas, no timers, nothing. But people knew Gordon wanted that spot clear, plus there was the insurance angle, albeit moderate. Mr. Gordon was miles away when the fire happened at a meet in Baltimore with known business folks. My gut told me he did it, yet I was sure with the thin proof they had, I could clear his name, maybe even get the case thrown out. I needed to dig deeper. I rang up my buddy at the Drake Detective Agency, the go-to sleuths our company always called on for the dirt on tricky cases. I filled him in. I was sure Gordon got some top-notch fire starter to torch the warehouse. Gordon had his fingers in a bunch of pies real estate, shops, a building crew, a few office spaces, and bits of other money-making gigs. The Drake detectives dug into all these. They had a look at every single worker under Gordon's wing, around 70 folks, but nothing fishy popped up there. But this is why Adam and I trust these guys. They're super careful. They even sifted through job apps from folks Gordon didn't hire, and bingo, they hit on something. A guy named Henry Williams caught their eye, a retired fireman who wanted a part-time gig as a night guard. When the detective asked if I wanted the lowdown on Williams, I was all ears. In no time, they painted the full picture of Henry Williams' life for me. Chief Williams had hung up his fireman hat over 7 years ago. Sadly, his wife fell sick with a rare illness about 5 years back, making it rough for her to even leave the house. To make matters worse, they were drowning in medical bills so much that Williams' sister-in-law had to move in from Florida to lend a hand. Even with his decent pension, the expenses were just too much, pushing him to try for a night watchman job at Gordon's place. Officially, he didn't get the job. Another thing, he was paying his bills with money orders, so he paid in cash, the kind that didn't see his bank holding. Mr. Williams' job paper made me feel odd, and I wasn't sure why. He had a long, shiny work past. It was full of prizes. He went from being a young fire guy in his 20s to the head of a big city fire team. He also checked for fire and looked into fire setting. I felt like I was holding the story of the guy who may have set the fire for Gordon. Instead of adding this new info to our case files, I kept it to myself. In fact, I hid the file and tucked Chief Williams' job paper into my jacket as I left the office. I told my helper I'd be out for the day. I drove to Williams' house. I watched the place for a bit and saw it was a one-floor, average home in a nice spot. From what I knew, Williams and his wife had been there for over 25 years. Before I went to the door, I took off my jacket and made my tie loose. I left my case in the car. A woman answered the door a minute after I rang. I said I needed to talk to Chief Williams about something private. I thought she might be the sister of Chief Williams' wife. She didn't let me in but said to wait and shut the door. A few minutes later, Chief Williams came out. He was a tall, slim man with deep lines on his face and not much hair left. He looked important even in simple pants and a shirt. I told him who I was and showed him my card. He looked at the card, then asked what I wanted. I'm a lawyer for Richard Gordon. I'm helping him with a fire-setting case. And why come to me? He asked. I felt weird standing there, so I asked if we could walk and talk. The chief looked towards a park he liked for walks. You know Mr. Gordon, right, Chief Williams? The chief was slow to talk. In fact, he didn't straight answer my asks. I got it quick that I had to be very clear with him. As we got to the park start, I stopped and showed my shirt was out. Chief, look, I've got no mic on me, so what we say stays with us. The chief kept on walking and asked me again what I wanted. Chief Williams, I said, I think you set fire to Gordon's warehouses at the dock. I can't prove it now, but if I show what I have to cops, they might find out the truth. Still not showing much, the chief said, for the last time, Mr. Collins, what do you want? To blackmail me? Try it. I got to the point. I want you to set a boat on fire and sink it for me. Chief Williams was shocked. Why would I do that for you, Mr. Collins? You think you can make me do it by threat? Nope, I said back. I want to pay you. They'll give you $55,000 to do it. It's a big boat in a little marina outside San Diego. And why do you want the boat gone, Mr. Collins? They'll tell you why, Chief. I want you to know I'm serious. After, you can do one of three things: say no and tell the cops, forget we talked, or say yes. Hey, race, what'll do, Mr. Collins, he said. I've got a trip to San Diego to check my sister-in-law's house. Tell me more about the boat you're eyeing, and he'll look into it. They'll be back in a week. Meet me here in the park. I walk this way every day at 2. Don't call, text, or send any kind of electronic message, and don't write anything down. They'll be back next Wednesday. I told the chief I shared info about the Temptress, a boat owned by Miguel, Luis, and their family. I told him where he could find it. He didn't jot anything down. Once he had the details, he walked off. I waited a bit, then headed to my car and drove home. Getting through the next week was tough. My mind kept wandering, but somehow my partner and I managed to come up with a solid defense for our client, Mr. Gordon. It seemed like the cops had no proof the warehouse fire was on purpose, even though Mr. Gordon ended up better off because of it. On Wednesday, I was back at the park, sitting at a table near Chief Williams' house. Right at 2 p.m., he showed up and sat on a bench not too far from me. I can do what you're asking, Chief Williams said, like it was no big deal. I need more details, though. I want the boat burned and sunk on August 15th, right in front of the resort, a bit down from the marina, I explained. You know we have to do this in the dead of night, right? He mentioned. Yes, that's the plan. He then said, you get that this won't look like an accident. It'll be obvious it was on purpose. That's what I'm aiming for, I replied. If it's clear it was on purpose, insurance might not pay out. Without wasting more words, the chief made his terms clear. I want half of the $55,000 up front, plus $11,500 for expenses in cash. Use 20s and 50s. See you next week, Chief, same time. I confirmed. As the boss was about to go, he said, next time, meet me on the far side of the park, near where folks eat outside. He then walked off towards his house. I had been busy for quite a bit, gathering a big pile of cash. I couldn't just take $40,000 from my savings without making people suspicious if they ever looked into it. So I took out a little at a time and made it seem like I was betting it. I went to horse races a lot and put down bets of 100 to 200 often. I was surprised that sometimes I won, but mostly I lost. I kept all my tickets, even the losers. I also picked up losers off the ground that others threw away. After months, I had tickets adding up to more than $55,000. This was my cover, showing I lost a lot of cash on bets. Come next Wednesday, I was at the park again. Not much was said between the boss and me. I just gave him a shopping bag I brought and walked away. We did set up to meet one last time in the park the Wednesday after the plan was done to give him the rest of his money. As the time for another school meetup was near, I got the invite in my email. I used to have a good time at these. This go-round I wanted to, but I didn't want to face folks there. Too many knew the mess Anna made, and all knew we split because of it. At a school thing for Michael that Anna and I both went to, I told her I wasn't going. She wasn't shocked and said she wasn't planning on showing up either. When we both said we weren't coming, Ryan reached out to push us to think again. I made it clear to him that neither of us wished to go. He and Nina were let down. On the night people came back together, I had a date planned. I really needed one and also wanted to make sure folks knew where I was that night. I'd gone on dates before, mostly when it was Anna's turn to watch little Michael. This time, I asked her to keep an eye on him for the night. After getting ready, I took little Michael to Anna's place. She saw I was dressed up and asked if I was meeting someone. I said I went out now and then but wasn't tied down to anyone. She looked a bit upset, knowing I was out with another lady, likely to have a fun night. But still, she fixed my tie and said I looked sharp. I asked if she was seeing anyone. She wasn't ready to date yet, she said. That made me feel a mix of happy and bad, glad she wasn't with someone else but guilty because I was going out. I acted like everything was normal, glad to have my date to keep me from thinking too much about the reunion. We really had a great time, drinks, dinner, dance, and then to her house for the night. By the end, we were both so tired we just slept. At 2 a.m., my phone started ringing. Took about 10 rings before I picked up. Who's calling at this time? I mumbled, picking up. Michael, you won't believe this. Ryan sounded too pumped up. Then I remembered my plans for the night and got fully awake. Still, I tried to sound sleepy and not bothered. Can we talk in the morning? I said. I was out cold. No, you need to see this now. Ryan was all buzzed. The Harrington boat is burning up in the waterway. It's lighting up everything. I'm sending you some pics and a video. Ryan hung up and soon after I got a video on my phone. It was wild. This boat in the water was all on fire, from the front to the back. Flames everywhere. Ryan was by the beach at some resort, and a bunch of people were with him. They all were watching the fire, making sounds of surprise. Some wore just shorts, some had on robes. The noise and the fire had woken them up, and they came out to see. The video was a minute long. My date woke up and watched it with me. She couldn't look away. After seeing it a few times, she pulled me back to bed. And, well, let's just say she caught my full attention again. I slept really well after that. My date might think it was all thanks to her. But knowing that Miguel and Louis' fancy boat was now toast helped me sleep like a baby. The next morning, she made breakfast. We said goodbye, hoping to meet up again soon. I was back home by 11 a.m. Just then, my phone rang. It was Anna, as expected. Michael, did you catch the news? She asked. I said Ryan had already called me with a video. Nina called me last night, Anna said. She sent me photos. I thought about calling you, but I guessed you might not be alone, so I didn't. Who would do such a thing? She wondered. I don't know, I answered, but the Harrington brothers aren't exactly liked. Not by me anyway. Turns out this was big news. By Sunday, it was on TV channels everywhere. About an hour after it began, cops on the water showed up in a fast boat. They could only watch, but they did take many close-up videos of the fire. About an hour later, the first fireboat got there. As the fireboat shooting huge jets of water moved closer to the burning boat, two big blasts underwater happened just seconds apart. The first blast pushed the front of the boat up about 4 feet, and the second one did the same for the back end. The fireboat had to back off to stay safe. The yacht dropped back down, but it was clear it was going down fast. In 5 minutes, water reached the top edge, then the deck went under. Finally, the whole boat sank out of sight. In an email from Ryan, he said the Harrington twins were on the beach with everyone else watching the fire. Ryan told Miguel and Luis it looked like their boat on fire. They got scared right away and ran to the marina only to see their boat was gone. They were super scared to see their very costly yacht sinking in the water. They found a small boat at the marina and drove out to their boat. They got really close as if they wanted to get on, but the flames kept them off. They stayed close, going around the burning boat for an hour until the harbor police made them leave. They watched from their small boat until it sank. Right away, the Harrington family asked for salvage rights and wanted others to stay away from where the boat sank. The police and the Coast Guard told them they might have rights to the wreck, but there would be a checkup on how the fire started and why the boat sank. A police boat was told to stay where the boat went down. That was all the news until Sunday night. That evening, the TV news had more to say about the missing boat. It looks like on Sunday afternoon, a man on the police boat saw a bundle floating in the water. They caught it with a net and brought it on board. Inside, they found 5 kilos of a white powder wrapped up 3 times in plastic. Soon after, they spotted another bundle, then another and one more. A quick test by the police lab showed the white powder was cocaine. In no time, divers from the Coast Guard and Harbor Police came to help. They found that the yacht had 2 hidden spots on the outside, below the water, full of bundles like the ones in the water. The blast at the front of the boat had opened up one of these spots, letting the bundles float up to the surface. Right after that, the police wanted to arrest the owners of the yacht, the Harrington family. But it was too late to catch the parents of Miguel and Luis. They had flown off to New Orleans but landed in a small airport near Havana, Cuba, instead. Miguel, Luis, and Isabella got caught at a small airfield near San Diego as they were about to fly to New Orleans. When I heard this news, I thought to myself, there really is a higher power. The next Wednesday, I was in the park talking to Chief Williams. I thanked him for doing just what I paid him for, like he was a top worker who did really great on a shelf project. Even though it was better not to know how he did it, I couldn't help but ask. He told me he had set up camp on the other side of the estuary in a regional park that weekend. At midnight, when all was quiet, he moved his gear to the water's edge. Dressed in a black wetsuit and with his face painted black, he was ready to go. With scuba gear and a tow gadget powered by a battery, he made his way across the estuary to the marina. He peeked above water just enough to use a small gun to shoot the 2 lights shining on the dock and waited. When no one showed up, he figured no one was watching the dock or had any cameras on the boats. Next, he got to where the Temptress was tied up. He first tied the green cloth I had given him to the rail in front of the slip. Then he got on the boat. He took out a small battery-run pump from his bag and set it on the deck. 1 tube went into the fuel tank, the other end split into 3 tubes. 2 were laid out on top of the deck on each side. The 3rd tube was put in the cabin. Chief Williams untied the ropes at the front and back of the ship and tossed them into the water. He quietly went back into the water and fixed the back rope to his underwater puller. The tug wasn't made to drag something as heavy as the Temptress, but it slowly started moving out of its spot. When it was out, he moved to the front and hooked that rope to the tug. Slowly and without making a sound, the yacht moved past the dock, hidden by the other boats in their spots. At last, the big boat moved unseen through the marina's exit and into the open estuary. From there, the boat was pulled downstream toward the resort. It was after 2 a.m. when Chief Williams got back on the Temptress and let down the anchor. The channel in the middle of the estuary was about 35 feet deep at that spot. The deck and cabin were soaked in diesel fuel. He thought about taking the electric pump and the tubes away but chose not to because the fire was meant to look on purpose. Going back into the water, Chief Williams put explosive things on the boat's bottom, 1 at the front and 1 at the back. They weren't big, but they were enough to make a hole through the boat's frame. He set them to go off after 2 hours. He thought that'd be long enough for folks to watch the fire before the boat went under. Chief Williams packed up and moved away from the yacht. Coming up for air, he lit a flare and tossed it on the Temptress. It caught fire fast, and the flames spread all over. He wanted to stay and see, but he had to dive back in and swim away so no one on the beach could spot him. The chief made his way back to where he started in the bay. He got out of his diving gear and wetsuit quick, wrapped it up, and put it in his sister-in-law's car. By then, campers near the bay woke up to the noise. He walked with them to the shore to watch the boat burning. People were amazed, taking photos and videos. After the ship sank and the show was over, they went back to sleep until morning. Before going back to his sister-in-law's place, the chief got rid of his diving stuff so no one would ever find it. I asked the chief what he planned next. He told me his wife didn't have much time left. After she was gone, he and his sister-in-law would take her ashes to San Diego to be with her folks. Then he and his sister-in-law would likely stay together at her house for a while. I was struck by how much the chief cared for his wife. He loved her until the very end. I kept an eye on the news about the Temptress sinking. The only hint the cops got, if it was one, was a green wrap tied to the rail where the Temptress was docked. Some thought the boat was set on fire on purpose because of a bad drug deal. The Harrington twins didn't take the charges lying down. They had a lot of money and got a big-shot law firm to fight for them. But they were caught clear as day. The person going after them played them against each other. He told them both they were going to end up in jail, but if they wanted any chance at a lighter deal, they had to speak up first. They both jumped at the offer so fast they ended up ratting out the whole drug crew they were part of. Still, with their fancy lawyers, it took months of talks before they actually went to court. From the time I decided to sink the temptress, I felt guilty. I was a lawyer meant to follow the law, and as a court officer I had to stick to strict ethical rules. But the guilt got lighter with every step I took to sink that boat. I turned into a criminal. When it became clear I had blown the lid off a big drug ring without meaning to, I stopped feeling bad. Actually, I felt great, like I had thrown off a huge burden. I wasn't the grumpy, joyless guy anymore. I was happy as a divorced dad could be. Anna was the first to notice my cheer. I didn't give her cold looks anymore. I don't know if she connected my change in mood to the boat incident. She never asked, but she liked the warmer air between us. We saw each other a lot, always because of little Michael's life and stuff. We aimed to keep his life as steady as we could. We were all together for the 4th of July, taking him to the beach to see fireworks over the sea. For Spooky Night, we did the same as last year. Anna stayed home giving out sweets to kids in costumes, and I followed little Michael and his pals around the block, watching them and snapping photos. Then came Thanksgiving time. This year we'd be at Anna's folks' house. Even with us not being a couple anymore, her parents made sure I was invited too. My folks, brother, sister, and their kids, little Michael's cousins, were all going. Their place was a 2-hour trip away. Anna thought it made sense if we rode together. I didn't want folks thinking we were an item again, but it did make sense to carpool. I was a bit worried about how I'd be welcomed, but no one made it weird. Honestly, most still saw us as together. Anna kept her marriage rings on, which made people wonder. When I asked her why she didn't take them off after the split, she said it was to keep guys from hitting on her. I didn't buy it. I knew how she felt about me and that she wasn't over things. I guess I wasn't either. Even though I stopped wearing my ring around my neck, it was still out in the open in a silver dish on my dresser with my cuff links, tie clips, and pins. Our families could tell we weren't really over each other. They didn't know the exact reason for our split, just knew it as irreconcilable differences. They probably thought fixing us was their task. For Christmas, it was just us three. Michael was over at Anna's place. I had dinner there on Christmas Eve and then went home. While there, little Michael was busy shaking all the presents under the tree, even ones not his. I came back early the next morning. They could only watch, but they did take many close-up videos of the fire. About an hour later, the first fireboat got there. As the fireboat shooting huge jets of water moved closer to the burning boat, 2 big blasts underwater happened just seconds apart. The first blast pushed the front of the boat up about 4 feet, and the second one did the same for the back end. The fireboat had to back off to stay safe. The yacht dropped back down, but it was clear it was going down fast. In 5 minutes, water reached the top edge, then the deck went under. Finally, the whole boat sank out of sight. In an email from Ryan, he said the Harrington twins were on the beach with everyone else watching the fire. Ryan told Miguel and Luis it looked like their boat on fire. They got scared right away and ran to the marina, only to see their boat was gone. They were super scared to see their very costly yacht sinking in the water. They found a small boat at the marina and drove out to their boat. They got really close as if they wanted to get on, but the flames kept them off. They stayed close, going around the burning boat for an hour until the harbor police made them leave. They watched from their small boat until it sank. Right away, the Harrington family asked for salvage rights and wanted others to stay away from where the boat sank. The police and the Coast Guard told them they might have rights to the wreck, but there would be a checkup on how the fire started and why the boat sank. A police boat was told to stay where the boat went down. Anna's office was big and very well known. They spent lots of cash on a fancy hotel room, food, drinks, and a band. Anna looked great. She was dressed up, but not too much. She had on a dark blue dress that showed off her purple necklace and earrings. We sat at a table with her close work friends, some I knew. We danced a lot and got pretty close during slow songs. Now and then, A single lawyer would come up and ask to dance with Anna because she was not married, even though she was there with me, her ex-husband. But before I could say anything, Anna would step in and say she was sticking with me for dances tonight. I said I was okay if she wanted to dance fast ones with others. She told me she had been avoiding some of them for months. Even wearing her wedding rings didn't stop them once they knew she was divorced. She also said if I hadn't come as her date, she wouldn't have shown up. At midnight, we were dancing as the last seconds of the year went by. When the clock hit 12, balloons flew up, people blew horns, and confetti flew everywhere. Everyone hugged and kissed. I kept Anna close. We looked into each other's eyes and kissed. It was deep and full of feelings. Everyone around us saw just how much we were lost in that moment, so they didn't interrupt us. After we stopped kissing, we felt a bit shy. People were watching. That's when we hugged a few folks and shook hands. We went back to our table, and the band played Auld Lang Syne. We danced a bit more, but were both tired. I told Anna, "I'll take you home. Take me to your place, Michael. I want to crash with you tonight." The next day, things felt a bit weird between us. She only had her party dress from the night before, so she wore just her undies and one of my big shirts. As I made breakfast, Anna, with a coffee in hand, looked at me. "Michael," she said, "we have a big thing we're not talking about." I didn't look at her as I asked something out of the blue. "Wanna be just us again?" I said. "What?" was all she said. "Wanna be just us again?" I repeated. "No one else." It felt like ages before she replied. "Yes, yes, 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 yes," she said. She got up and hugged me tight from behind. "All right," I said. "Let's start the year off right. See how it goes." And it went well. Over the next few months, Anna and I saw each other like the early days. But it wasn't all easy for me. I couldn't shake off that she had been with Miguel and Luis, pretending to be Miguel. I got that she was tricked by friends. I also got that I was set up. But Anna had been too free for a married lady at that reunion. I saw, though, how sorry Anna felt. I was sure nothing like before would happen again if we stayed together. In May, I asked Anna to marry me again. It wasn't a small thing. I didn't want her thinking we'd just go get married quick and start over. I asked her on a quiet restaurant balcony by the sea, under a big, bright moon shining on the water. Just like when I asked to be exclusive, she said yes, 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 then she began to cry. I was all smiles, and I knew it was because I was happy. Anna was happy too. When I shared our plans to have another wedding, she thought it was a grand idea. Around that time, an invite to our law class reunion in June came. I rang up Ryan and Nina, letting them know we'd all go together. I also spilled the beans about us getting hitched again. They were over the moon for us. The first day at the reunion felt a bit tense. We ran into many old pals. Most seemed glad to have us back, but a few kept their distance, making Anna feel some new about our split and why. We joined in all the usual events: the lunch buffet on Friday, the boat ride along the estuary, and the Friday night barbecue outdoors. Come Saturday morning, we enjoyed brunch at the resort's eatery, followed by free time, usually spent either by the beach or shopping locally. Slowly, more of our former friends seemed to come around to seeing Anna and me together again. Part of it was because we stuck close by each other, showing lots of care. The Saturday night banquet started with a mingling hour outside our dinner room. I was in a black suit with a dress shirt, studs, and a bow tie. Anna was stunning in a formal off-white pencil skirt and a matching long-sleeve top. Ryan took on his usual role as the night's host. After a few opening words and some light-hearted jokes, he signaled the waiters and dinner was served. Anna and I sat with Ryan, Nina, and a few other close pals. After a leisurely 5-course meal, Ryan said it was break time, telling everyone to be back in 10 minutes for the formal part of the evening before the dance. As folks found their way back to clean tables, now free from dishes and empty wine bottles, they settled in with their drinks for after dinner. Ryan got the evening moving with his news. He talked about mates from class who had done well in their jobs, won awards, or got a nod for their work in law. "You might have missed," Ryan went on, "that our twin pals are not here tonight. They're in a bit of trouble with the U.S. law right now. All of us here last year saw their big boat catch fire and sink right out there by the marina." Ryan chuckled. It was quite the show, and then we all saw in the news how their boat was mixed up in moving stuff that's not allowed. Our mates from Cuba have been found guilty of big no-nos and are in jail in San Diego, waiting to see what comes next. I wasn't sure how folks would take this news, but it sure wasn't quiet. Since I was near the dance floor, I had to look around and back to catch everyone's reaction. They were all gazing at me, all of them. A woman looking sharp in her dress covered her mouth and sent a kiss my way. A man across from me saluted. Another lady shook her head as if saying yes. Well done. Ryan kept going. We're also missing our top cheerer, Al Campbell. For some reason, she backed out last minute, mentioning some legal trouble of her own. Ryan's tone got heavier. We're glad to have Michael and Anna back with us, side by side. Some may remember a bad spot they got into 2 years back. I want to say, from both Nina and me, and surely others too, we missed a chance to be real good friends and help them dodge that rough patch. So there we were, Anna and me getting a clap from friends. When Ryan had some news before we hit the dance floor, Michael and Anna got a surprise. They're tying the knot again. Right now, Ryan waved us over to the front of the dance hall. Ryan and Nina stood by our side, and Nina gave Anna a bunch of flowers that went well with her dress. Preacher stepped up in front. In no time, we said I do once more. When I tried to put her ring on the left, she gave me her right hand instead. I've got rings on my left, she said. Never thought we'd split. Now it's 2 times the charm. I slipped the ring on her right hand. It was a match. The same ring she got before to trick me, but now with our names and new date on it. Just had to do it, or the bad guys would think they got us, I whispered, holding her close after a kiss. Right after we were named man and wife, Anna tossed her bouquet into the crowd. A woman who had lost her husband caught it. The band kicked off with Oh, How We Danced on the Night We Were Wed, and I had my first dance with Anna again. Then everyone hit the floor with a rock tune, dancing the night away. Taking a break, I brought up not seeing Rachel around. Anna shared that a while back, Rachel bragged about having a judge in her pocket for her cases. Turns out, Anna got a detective to dig into that. He found out Rachel was with more than one judge in her cases, and he told the district lawyer. She ended her tale with, I wanted payback too. As we danced, a nice-looking lady asked to dance with me. Anna let her. I knew her as Elizabeth, a grad friend I barely knew and hadn't seen in ages. She said, Michael, the same thing happened to me with Miguel Harrington years back. I felt so bad but told my man. He was strong, forgave me, and I make sure every day he knows he chose right. We haven't been to a meetup since until now. We wanted to say thanks. I had to act like I didn't know Elizabeth. I'm lost. Sure you are, she said back. She hugged me and went back to her spot. She kissed the man she was with and whispered to him. He looked at me, waved, and nodded. During the dance, many guys slapped my back, shook my hand, or got me a drink and said thank you. At one time, a lady came from behind while I sat, wrapped me in a hug, and kissed my cheek. She went back to her partner without a word. Anna said, You're a hit with the ladies tonight, Michael. Must be the scent I'm using, I replied, smiling. Getting drinks, I went up to James Allen. Your place is helping Miguel and Luis, right? James said yes. He said they had heaps of cash and got our top guys on it. He added they'd be locked up for a good while, plus they hadn't seen each other since they got caught. Because they told on their big drug move and named the top guys, they were in big danger if they went to any federal jail, so they got split up and got new names. They would do their time in different jails, one in North Dakota and one in Ohio, with fake charges on them. I asked James if he ever saw them. James said he helped out the partners sometimes, like when they needed to sign papers or make a decision. I asked James if he could pass a message for me. He said yes. I told him what to say to Miguel and Luis. You messed with my wife, so I messed up your life. Revenge feels full only when the ones who hurt you know you've hit back hard, way more than getting even. My words would hint I was behind their downfall, but they couldn't prove it. Plus, the authorities were way past caring about someone setting their boat on fire. What I didn't know then was James got close to Isabella, Louis' now ex-wife. Isabella, so pretty and full of life, just wanted someone to love her truly. She dreamed of a simple life, a loving man, and lots of kids. James was her man. By the end of the night, Ryan shared that we'd have a gathering for the new couple at brunch tomorrow. Some of our old friends had flights early the next day and couldn't make it. Others changed their plans to stay, and some were local and didn't need to go anywhere. During the brunch, Anna made a clink sound with her glass to get everyone's attention. She had words to share. Thanks to everyone for showing up today. I hope you can all see past my mistakes from 2 years back. I know Michael has forgiven me, but I also know he won't ever forget. For me, saying sorry to myself is hard, and he'll always remember. But I want you all to hear this. I am truly happy now, and I'll do everything to make sure Michael is truly happy forever. I took her word, and that's how betrayal turned into revenge, and then a second chance at love. Do you think some betrayals can be forgiven? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.